Hi, I'm Catherine. Thanks so much for joining me. I'd really like to talk to you about the power of this book, the Bhagavad Gita, and how relevant it is to our lives today, and how transformative it can be. I expect as you've made your way here, you do already know something about it. It's an ancient Hindu scripture that would have first been passed down from generation to generation, orally actually at first, 1,000 years ago. In fact, the name Bhagavad Gita means divine song. But even though it's so ancient, it's about the timeless truth of our existence. And that truth is just the same for you here and now, watching me on this video, as it would have been for the people who first heard the song being sung a millennia ago. The book opens on a battlefield, and there's a great warrior prince called Arjun in his chariot with his friend Krishna. And across the other side of the battlefield, they're facing Duryodhan, who's Arjun's cousin, and all of Duryodhan's army, including many other friends and relatives of Arjun, not to mention hundreds and thousands of other soldiers and elephants and horses and chariots. And Arjun, in the middle of the battlefield, when he sees his friends and relatives standing there, becomes completely overwhelmed and frozen with fear, and wants to just surrender then and there. And he asked Krishna what he should do. I remember first hearing this story when I was only about 4 or 5 and being really confused by it, especially when Krishna says to Arjun, "You must fight and kill Duryodhan and his army." In fact, for me personally, it wasn't until I met my teacher, Swamiji, that I really came to understand what the Gita was about. And then, of course, I realized that the battlefield is just a representation of every human mind, including my own mind. And Krishna represents the pure being, the awareness that's always present, the underlying source of all existence, of your existence, my existence, and of the existence of the whole of creation. And this pure being never changes. It isn't born, it doesn't die, it can never be divided. It's totally complete. So when Krishna says to Arjun that he must kill Duryodhan and his army, it's because Duryodhan represents all that's negative and selfish and fearful and doubtful in a human mind. And that's why Krishna says to Arjun, which means, of course, that he's speaking to you and to me, the readers, that you must kill this aspect of your mind that keeps you so bound in a place of suffering. So if you or anybody who you're teaching or supporting suffers from grief or anxiety or fear, then the Gita can be used as a tool in a really profound and practical way, because it holds this knowledge of our inner essence, which is just so strengthening. But also it has an array of techniques or different types of yoga which can be followed and help us actually understand ourselves and come to know ourselves as that inner being. But these yogas also can just help us function properly in the world, live freely and fearlessly and successfully. For example, karma yoga, the yoga of action, describes how to act decisively and be completely free from the mindsense of fear about the future. I first met Swamiji in 1995. I was in my mid-20s, and that meeting completely changed the course of my life. From then, up until a couple of years ago when I moved back to the UK, I spent most of my time living in the Himalayas, meditating and studying this philosophy of non-duality, or advaita Vedanta, as it's called in Sanskrit. So I've read the Gita many times and had many conversations with Swamiji about the knowledge contained in it. And I can tell you that this book just goes deeper and deeper the more it's repeated. And when the yogas in it are actually put into practice, they enable you to unfold a vision of yourself as just far vaster than anything you might have previously conceived of. And then the verses stop just being words on a page to be analysed or understood and start coming to life. And then they really do feel like a song that's being sung by your own pure existence.